All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is upon us. It's time to deal with the unit test preview. I am not doing this whole thing in one video. I'm going to break it into pieces. So I'm dealing with numbers 1 through 20 for part 1, and I am dealing with numbers 21 through, I believe, 37. Yes. For part 2, does that mean the test itself is going to be broken up in the same way? No. Very, very short, quick, and easy answer. No. Kind of in the same order, yes, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that. So here we go. Graph the parabola and find the missing information for each. Okay, you have options on graphing your parabola. Could I put it in my calculator completely and use the table? Yep. Is that what Hardy's going to do? Nope. I am going to do the good old opposite of B over 2A. Negative 2 divided by negative 1 is 2. That got me a couple bits of info. Now at this point, maybe, especially since that A value is a fraction, maybe now am I going to go to the calculator? Probably not a terrible idea. Remember, if you're doing the fraction, you need to put it in parentheses. So let's chart this up and hope that when we get 2 in the middle, we are seeing symmetry. And we do. Hallelujah. That's an easy way to get my vertex value. It's negative, so I know it's opening down. So it has a max. And the max value will always be the y value of my vertex. Oh, I guess I could have put the 3 here. Fine. Okay. Y-intercept. Little things, people. That's when x equals 0. So really, I just got my start with the negative b over 2a for that. Otherwise, I'm just going to use the chart. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 0, 1. How many dots do I need, Hardy? I'd do at least 5 when I had the opportunity, and we do here. Did I just get off one on that? I did. Oh, Hardy. For the love. It happens. I always tell you it does. It happens to me too. Okay, here's the easy peasy one. We're in vertex form. Opposite of H plus K. We're good. Axis of symmetry. Don't forget the x equals. Oh, I hate that. It's death by 1,000 minus 1/2. Don't lose the x. Okay. Now this time we got some different stuff. We got domain, we got range, we got all this other stuff. But I got to have the graph first. Well, what should I do? Can I put it in the calculator? I could. But my A value is 1. So remember, we've got this 1, 3, 5 pattern we can use, especially if A equals 1. Now I'm just like, oh, up and over 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1. Domain, better get this right. It's always infinite. Every time. Range, y value of the vertex gives us a clue. That's where it starts. And up forever. Now, x-intercepts. This is why I like to plot extra points. There they are right on my graph. I don't even really have to go find them. Now, if they weren't whole numbers, could I trap them on my calculator? I could. Could I type this in my calculator and look and hope to see y equals 0 in my chart? I could. Lots of options if you know your tools. Okay, on this one, a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and find my x-intercepts first because they're just zeros. So if I set each of these equal to 0, coordinate points, not just 1 and 3, negative 1 and 3, that will not get it done. So how do I find the vertex now? Again, could I go in the calculator and hope to see symmetry? Yes. Otherwise, if we take the 2 intercepts and find their midpoint. So what's in the middle? I could kind of count, couldn't I? 2 divided by 2 is 1. That's the x value. And then either go to the calculator or just plug it in. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. So negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 times 2 is positive 8. Now, does this look right? It's opening down. Let's see if this works. If I multiply each of these by negative 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. It's very nice, very nice. So we get that in. Got my axis of symmetry. You already know the domain, people. You knew it before you even graphed it. I better not see any freebies not being taken on that. And then my range goes down forever, but it goes up as high as 8. I'm telling you, folks, if you've practiced, even if you've watched this and messed with it a little, you're going to be good. Solve each by showing work. Check your solutions. All right, here comes the newer stuff. Be careful on the right. Please don't do x squared plus 144 minus 144. You've got to FOIL this out. Or, if you're not going to do this, remember the pattern. Multiply these, negative 12x, and double it. And then square your negative 12 in parentheses. This number will always be plus. And once we have that, this stuff is moving to the other side. Oh boy, Hardy. Way to make one that's, you're going to have to really think here. Let's see. Multiply to a positive, add to a negative, double negative. All right, let's start playing. I need a little assistance here myself this time. That is too big. That is still too big. And that is not even go in. Ha-ha! 8 and 17 get me to 25. Now remember your original problem before we squared both sides. If I plug this number in, do I get a negative under the radical or do I get a negative for the answer? Because either one is not going to work. So 8 plus 8 is 16. Okay, that works. 8 minus 12 is negative 4. Wah, 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 by 8. 17 plus 8 is positive 25. Okay, 17. Yep, that one's okay. Just again, no negatives under here, no negative solutions in the original problem. So again, we check. Do not try and square this with that over there. It would be a disaster. Okay, so that was plus initially. So we're going to put minus here. And now we're basically back in the same situation we were here on 4. Again, negative 8x, double it. Again, the lovely thing about me being on video is you can speed me up, you can slow me down, you can rewind me. It's a lovely thing. All right, so let me keep going along here. Making sure everything's going well. I'm not doing anything screwy, not yet. Just looking at this. Oh, wait a minute, that's it. For a minute, I thought I was going to have to go to the quadratic formula. Reminder here. If you and factoring are not friends, you have 3 options to solve these once you get into the quadratic form. You can factor. You can use the quadratic formula. You can find zeros on your calculator. Okay, you have options. Now again, showing all work. When you get down to here, you could help some, but I don't want you going initially to that. So I'm gonna give the kibosh to that. Let's stick to those two. So 14 and 4 will get me to 18 and multiply to 56. I'm going to use this one. So here's what it was initially. So here, am I going to get in trouble? Well, let's see. So if I plugged in 4, oh, 4, no, it's going to be negative, negative. 14, 28, 36. Yep, 14 is going to be okay. All right. Let's keep rolling. The impedance in one part of a circuit is this many ohms. The impedance in the other part. Find the total impedance. Don't make this fancy. Total is just another word for sum, which is another word for add. You're just combining like terms. -6 and 4. Why did I put naturally? It was just going to be plus for sure. Can't assume that, Hardy. You're right, I can't. That's as far as I can go, because I doesn't equal something I squared does. That's going to be important here in a little bit. Just saying. All right, let's see here. Solve the equation by showing work. Give reduced exact values only. In other words, no decimals. Add the 8 over. Don't square root it yet. X squared's got to be alone. Now I can square root it. Plus or minus. We have a negative radical. Take that I out. The I will hang out with our perfect square. The 6 is still being irrational. That's it. We're done. But no matter if it's just x squared by itself, even if it's inside of a set of parentheses, you've got to get this out of the way before you do the square root. Otherwise, it will not work. This time, now the squared's in my way. Get out of here, squared. Pull out my I. Almost forgot. Pull out my I. 6i plus minus. Gosh, don't forget the plus minus. And there's even one more catch with this one. When you do minus the 7 over, remember, this is a brick wall. Well, Hardy, can I do like -1i and -13i? No. If that was x, would you be combining those? No, they're not like terms. Well, they're not with I either. Little things, people, little things. All right, solve by completing the square. Show the work, give the reduced exact values only. One good note, okay, my 18's over here by itself. My not as fun note. Oh man, Hardy, you got a number in front already? What the heck? Well, here's the good news. The 18 was already on a side by itself. The 2 goes in nicely to everything, so don't complain too much. All right, we're going to take our 8. We're going to cut it in half. We're going to square it. We're going to make a binomial square. Either the number in parentheses in the side or just half of 8. Watch your sign. Take it with. We're doing good. You're not done. You haven't solved anything yet. Now we're kind of looking at what we did in number 8. Nice perfect square. There we go. But this time when we bring the 4 over, yes, this is still a brick wall. But, here's the thing. That I can simplify. I can do -4 plus 5. I can do -4 minus 5. I get 2 answers. So be cautious. Be cautious. Not that I really needed to divide the 2, but, you know, I didn't need to divide 0 by 2. That's all right. 14, you cannot hang out with the x's. You will be banished to the other side. Make sure you do an opposite to get it there. Whew. Another good reminder as we're doing this one and cutting it in half. The square, the perfect square number will always be positive because you're using parentheses. I don't want to see any negative numbers getting added to both sides. That's just wrong. Just wrong. -8, half of -16. You're like, all right, we're rolling like number 9 now. Got it, Hardy. Got it, got it, got it. Break down the radical. Bring the 8 over. Be careful. This has a radical, just like this had an I. If there's something hooked to that coefficient, you can't combine those. Don't do it. All right, halfway home on the first part of what we're doing here. Write in vertex form by completing the square and showing how the work can identify the vertex. All right. Well, we want to do all sorts of things. So we're going to get the 24 out. Now, we saw this on the last quiz. I had notes up. I went through it in the review. I gave you a helper. Let's not do this again. If you have a coefficient, we're not going to divide through when it's vertex form. Instead of giving me y over 2, that's no fun. We're going to factor out the 2. Okay, still 2x squared, 2 times negative 12, still times, minus 24x. But now I can actually do my completing the square part. One of these times, I'm going to get a majority of you to watch this video. It's going to happen. I'm feeling it. We're almost there. Because again, vertex form is just when y is alone. So I got to minus that 12 over. Don't lose your 2. It did not go away. It just got factored out. Then identify the vertex opposite of h plus k. Woo! Need another color this time. All right. Center and radius. X's together with a blank. Y's together with a blank. Move that 8 to the other side with an oppo. And let's start rocking this out here. Divide your b by 2 and square it. Divide your b by 2 and square it. Binomial square. Binomial square. Add them up. Usually going to be a nice perfect square, and it is. But don't be content. Find the center. Opposite of h. Opposite of k. And square root this number for your radius. So there's the equation. There's the radius. Again, you can roll these problems easy if you've done the P word practice. All right, let's see. Area of a rectangle. Oh, we've done this before too. All right. So area equals length times width. Let's see here. Multiply that out. Distribute to both terms, not just the first one. Bring the 117 over. Oh, Hardy, this is awful. What? Okay, again, you have choices. Zeros on the calculator. Quadratic formula. Factoring. Okay, I'll do something different for once. A lot of you complain sometimes that I always choose factoring on everything, and it's true, I normally do. But let me try something here. Okay, I'll put it on the calculator. Now again, I need to use a little bit of common sense here. That number is not the right answer. Why? It's the side of a rectangle. But I want that. Okay. Second. No, I don't want that. I want that. Wait a minute. Wait. That looks like it's a whole number. Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. Come on, calculator. Looks like a whole number. Wait a minute. Oh! Okay. Now, Eureka. I got my 9. Quadratic formula would have gotten me that. Factoring would have gotten me that when I got to the positive answer. So now, see, I even can be brought in to using the calculator sometimes. But otherwise, you factor it or you do the quadratic formula. Your pick. But yeah, that was kind of nice. Solve using the quadratic formula. No other way, just the quadratic formula. Show your work, people. All right. We got the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let's see here. We got 64 minus 40. Yep. So 8 plus or minus the square root of 24 over 6. All right. Oh, let's see. 8 plus or minus 2 square root of 6 over 6. Now that's great, but just the stuff outside, not under the radical. Leave that alone. If this stuff's all divisible by something, you need to go one more step to get to your answer. So we'll play it back again. And again, always make sure the equals 0 is there. If it's not, get it that way before you start. Otherwise, your values will be wrong. All right, opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus ac 2a. Oh, let's see, 9 minus 32. Uh-oh, the eyeball's coming, I think. For 8, pluck that eye out. Nothing goes into all those. So, okay, that one went a little quicker. That's kind of nice. Describe the transformations from the basic equation for the new function. That little extra one of those should not be there. All right, well, we got a lot going on here. All right, so we got down 2. We got left 1. We have a horizontal stretch. Nope, that's a compression. Compression of 3/4 because it's less than 1. And the negative on the outside means we're going to reflect about the x-axis. And again, you have that chart in your notes that talks about these. No, you cannot use the chart on the test, but it can help you kind of get going here. Write the equation of a quadratic form in intercept form. Well, that's very nice. Whose zeros are 1/4, change the sign, and -6, change the sign. Don't leave it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you forgot, I'll bring it back to the first page for just a moment. Intercept form is this, where you've got the 2 sets of parentheses there. I got the 2 sets of parentheses. You do not need to FOIL this out. Save yourself a little bit of time. Get that set, and here comes the end, and we're through the first half of this. Simplify completely. Do not just do the first and the last. First, outer, inner, last. Because again, if you multiply a radical by itself, the radical just goes away. So those canceled, and 64 minus 11 is 53. That was cool. I out. Oh, let's see. So 12's coming out here with I. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 2 goes into 7 3 times. So 1 left over. Leftover stand to the radical. And to wrap it up for part numero uno. A little bit of distributing. Watch those signs. We're looking for standard form here, which is real part first, imaginary part second. That will be a wrap for part 1. We will be back again with our next video to knock out 21 through 37. We'll see you then.